It appears to be update season, and I've got another update for you today, along with some creepy and disturbing new details involving a case many of you have followed for quite a while. Back toward the end of 2024, I was contacted by a female who claimed to be the ex-girlfriend of a then Orange City police officer, Jarmarus Brown. The female alleged that Brown had been stalking her by abusing confidential police databases and hidden air tags. She further stated that the Orange City Police Department had been made aware of this and that they were doing nothing. She said she lived in fear as it continued, and the department did nothing and reached out to me. We all now know the absolute chaos and insanity that ensued from there. Eventually, that officer was terminated and charged with stalking and misuse of the computers. We recently did an update on that. But at the time, the Orange City Police Department reached out to the Volusia County Sheriffs Office to handle the internal investigation into the claims. It's been jokingly said by members of the Orange City Police Department, I bet they won't reach out to Volusia County to handle their investigations anymore. Why is that, you might ask? Well, you remember part of the story. The investigator assigned by the Volusia County Sheriff's Office, Dave Teske, took charge of the investigation, and he did so much more. He did an in-person interview with the victim, and it was downhill from there. I guess nobody spoke up before, but after all of this came out, many members of the Volusia County Sheriff's Office contacted me and said that Dave, well, he was known as Creepy Dave by females around the department and some males. They say he has a reputation of being pretty creepy towards the opposite sex. And that seems to shine true in what happened with this victim. I've shared with you some of the details before, but now I've got the report from the investigation by the agency into Teske, and I'm going to share with you what that says. In about February of 2025, I was told by the victim that Creepy Dave had begun to send her inappropriate text messages, and that he did this with his department-issued phone to better hide this from his wife, and the victim stated that she told him she was aware that he had a wife and children. But that didn't stop him. So on February 19th, I submitted a record request to the Volusia County Sheriff's Office. I requested all text messages not related to the criminal investigation shared between the two phone numbers, Dave Teske's department-issued phone number and that of the victim. And I requested this between a specific time frame. They acknowledged my request right away, but I had not yet received a response. Then on the 24th, I learned that Teske had abruptly resigned from the sheriff's office and also allegedly made a very angry phone call to the victim, demanding to know why she told anybody about the inappropriate relationship. The very next day, on the 25th, I got a response to the record request saying that they could not release the records at this time because it's part of an ongoing investigation. Obviously, I surmised that my record request made the agency aware of the inappropriate conduct, which started a brand new investigation within the investigation. Now, coming into present day, they finally released the findings of the internal investigation into Teske. They say, on Monday, February 24, 2025, the Volusia Sheriff's Office became aware of potential inappropriate conduct between Detective David Teske and the victim. The conduct stemmed from communication on Teske's work cell phone between the two. This occurred while Detective Teske was assigned to a criminal case of which the victim was the victim. It goes on to say Detective Teske first met the victim on December 3rd, 2024 during a recorded interview dealing with the criminal actions of an Orange City police officer. It was discovered this prompted an opportunity for the two to begin speaking with each other about matters other than the case-related issues. Due to the fact that Detective Teske was actively working on the criminal case at the time this took place, there was concern that his actions were improper. Now, I should add, at that time, the victim had volunteered the information to me about Teske becoming inappropriate and asking her not to tell anyone. Now, it's extra baffling because it was a known fact that she had been speaking to me, and he's doing this on his department phone, so it doesn't make much sense. But anyway, even though she offered me that information, eventually she became reluctant to talk about the matter. Or at least that's the way it seemed. I suspected, and I even said this to the victim, that this could be because maybe the inappropriate behavior is being reciprocated. Now, Teske would still be in the wrong here, and he's in a position of power, where he's dealing with a potentially delicate situation with a female victim that may be, at the time, emotionally challenged, after having dealt with everything that she had dealt with. And what we're going to hear and see here, to me, let me know what you think, really sounds like predatory behavior. It says on the 24th of February, Teske was given official notice that he was being investigated and he immediately resigned. That same day, a lieutenant collected property belonging to the sheriff's office from Teske, including the cell phone. To no surprise of mine, it was found that all text messages had been deleted by Teske. Only a day later, however, they conducted an audit of that phone and got all these text messages. This is the same day they told me they can't release the records, and I'm going to read you what they had to say. The two started their communication on December 11th, 2024, and was initiated by Detective Teske. The first text message was in reference to the criminal case. However, a non-work-related conversation began. The majority of the communication occurred on the following date, December 12th, 2024. On that date, the conversation transitioned from a casual and friendly exchange to one that became increasingly flirtatious and intimate in nature. Initially, the tone was light and amicable, with casual pleasantries setting a comfortable foundation. The conversation shifted when Detective Teske started complimenting the victim, subtly hitting on her with remarks that she found flattering and appreciated, expressing gratitude for his kind words. This mutual admiration prompted both to share photographs of themselves, each complimenting the other's appearance and fueling the inappropriate conversation. The dynamic intensified when the victim sent pictures of herself in a bathing suit, along with other photos, which elicited more overtly sexual comments from Detective Teske. It gives some examples of the texts exchanged. It says that Teske wrote, "Just making sure, I don't know you that well yet. Just wanted to make sure that me calling you absolutely gorgeous didn't piss you off or anything. And no, my picture was horrible. Yours is like a painted portrait compared to mine, LOL." The victim replied, "That doesn't at all, LOL. It's actually really sweet. I mean, you know what I've been through, so that actually goes a long way and doesn't piss me off. It actually makes me smile." At one point, the victim asked Teske if he would like to hang out with her, to which he replied, yeah, have you met you? It would, of course, have to be after all this stuff is done and over with, but girl, of course. This is just so creepy to even read. Anyway, the conversation continued, which led Detective Teske to say, "It might be a short while. And also, you can't ever tell anyone that we are talking about anything not case-related. I kinda have to be your little secret until it's over." She responded by telling Teske, "I would never, seriously, well listen, I would never do something like that to you, no matter what. You can trust my word, I am a good person." Well, spoiler alert, she told me, right away. Although at the time, when I was made aware of this, I was made to believe that it was not mutual. But alas, that doesn't matter. It gets increasingly creepy and predatory here. Seriously, remember, this is a cop at the time who's supposed to be dealing with a female victim. It says, Teske asked the victim several times to send him nude photographs. For example, Teske wrote, "Also, why are you super clothed in all of those photos?" in response to photographs that the victim sent. Additionally, Teske said, "God damn, that's ridiculously hot. You ass. You aren't spamming me. You're giving me blue balls. Blue balls at a hockey game. I kinda like it. As long as there is a happy ending, LOL." To which the victim responded, "Sorry, emojis, not sorry." In response to some of the photos sent by the victim, Teske replied, at least 7 times, "Duh, I keep repicturing the photos you sent me and smiling. Then I get a slight hard-on. And then I have to hide under my desk. Your fault." On another photo, Teske wrote, "God damn, have you seen you?" Emojis. 10/10. Would smash. And you, any and all. I want to see you show off your confidence. I'm a boob guy normally, but that ass has my attention. I'll leave it up to you. Holy hell, how manipulative and creepy is that right there? Nobody said, "Hey, which picture do you want here? Choose between these two." He's coming up, putting the idea in her head, and then trying to make her feel like she has offered one of the two, and all she has to do now is decide which one of the two she wants to send. It's just creepy as hell. It's disgusting. To whom it may concern, it is with extreme sadness that I find myself in a position where I have to type this memo. I have been a part of this agency since 2012, where I have literally shed blood, sweat, and tears while acting as a servant of the citizens of Volusia County. As a law enforcement professional, I was held to a higher standard, which I failed to live up to. In a momentary lapse of proper judgment, yeah, no, absolutely not momentary, there was another well-known incident, somewhat similar, caused the whole fiasco. The whole department knows about it. And he was known as Creepy Dave, for God's sake. So there was nothing momentary about this. I made a conscious decision, which ultimately cost me a 13-year career that I have loved and was committed to. I fully recognize the seriousness of my behavior and negative impact on the blah, 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 blah. He goes on, he says he understands and he hopes one day he can rebuild the trust, blah, blah, blah. He's truly sorry for letting down the leadership, my colleagues. He's not sorry. He's sorry that people found out. He's sorry that the victim gave him her word that she wouldn't say anything to anybody, and she did. Otherwise, right after he abruptly quit, he would have called her with apologies, not angrily demanding to know why she spoke up. It's alleged by other members of that department that they did meet up in person as well, but I don't know. That's just what they say. Things definitely seem to be leaning that way from all these text exchanges, but who knows? But I got to give credit where it's due, and the sheriff's office did at least properly fill out his Form 61. The Form 61 you're all very familiar with. You've heard it a lot on this channel recently. Many times, agencies fraudulence that form to say that troubled cops just quit, just voluntarily, for no reason. Nothing to see here, nothing happened. To help a problem cop be hired somewhere else more easily, instead of checking the appropriate box. In this case, the sheriff's office did check the box that he quit while under investigation for moral character violations. So good on them for that, at least. So as an investigation started investigating one officer, 3 ended up investigating or being investigated. We've got one more update. We're waiting for the release of one more investigation, that one into the recently demoted captain, and all related to this one story. Go in the comments and share your thoughts. Let me know what you think of all this dipshittery, these shenanigans. And stay tuned, make sure your notifications are on so you can be the first to get the next update and anything else that comes up between now and then.